Huge breaking news day. RCR is appealing the Rockingham DQ, and the NASCAR Championship is returning home to Homestead. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Happy Monday, folks. So much has happened this morning. The class of 2026 NASCAR Hall of Fame nominees have just been revealed. A couple of familiar names make their Hall of Fame ballot debut. We'll talk about that in a moment. We'll also talk about 2026 Championship Weekend. The Athletic has a major breaking story this morning, but I want to begin real quick with Richard Childress Racing appealing the Jesse Love Rockingham disqualification. In case you missed it, Saturday, Jesse Love crossed the finish line first, but NASCAR officials found an issue with the car's rear suspension in post-race inspection. The rule states that all mating surfaces between the truck trailing arm and the U-bolt saddle must be in complete contact with each other. Allegedly, they weren't, hence the disqualification. Richard Childress Racing released a statement earlier this morning saying, quote, RCR will appeal NASCAR's decision to disqualify the number 2 team's win from the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Rockingham Speedway. Gosh, I love how simple, straightforward, and blunt RCR's statements usually are. I did do some Googling this morning to see if any teams had successfully appealed similar penalties in recent years, and the best examples I could find in the few minutes of research I did, in 2017, this was in the Cup Series, Joey Logano's Richmond win was encumbered. NASCAR cited the exact same rule they just busted Jesse Love for, said they found the suspension issues at the R&D Center later in the week. Team Penske did not appeal that penalty. And in fact, I found a tweet from Joey Logano at the time where he owned up to it and said, yeah, we were pushing the limits. So Team Penske did not appeal in 2017. In 2021, Noah Gregson's Xfinity Dash for Cash winning finish at Darlington was disqualified over a rear suspension issue. Based on what I could read, it sounds like the Gregson infraction was a little different than the Jesse Love alleged infraction. But for what it's worth, Junior Motorsports did appeal the Noah Gregson penalty and got it overturned. So, if you're an RCR or Jesse Love fan, there's good reason to be optimistic. I'm not very technical, and obviously none of us know exactly what RCR did to get themselves in trouble, but what I can speak to is what I saw with my eyes, and what I saw on Saturday was the 2 car looking like a rocket ship. Jesse Love had the fastest car at Rockingham Speedway, I believe. He could hang that thing out, especially on restarts. He could venture up higher and higher than seemingly anyone else was willing to test all afternoon. He could make positions, make moves, gain track position others couldn't. Some of that, for sure, was Jesse Love being a badass. But it wouldn't surprise me if some of that was also due to RCR finding a little extra speed in the rear end of that Chevrolet. I don't know what the ruling will be. I just cited 2 recent examples. I think it could go 50-50. RCR actually might have a decent shot of getting this overturned. No appeals date has been set as of yet, but we can assume it will happen in the coming weeks. Good luck to Jesse Love. If they truly didn't break the rules, I hope they get it overturned, but only time will tell. So that's the first breaking news story this morning. Now for the second breaking story, perhaps the biggest news of the day. NASCAR Championship Weekend is returning to Homestead Miami Speedway. The Athletic's Jordan Bianchi reports that the deal is for 2026 and is expected to be announced in the coming weeks. I'll link the full article down below, encourage you to check it out to see all of the specific details, but a few key points. Bianchi notes this deal is only for 2026. Starting in 2027, NASCAR is planning to rotate the championship venue every single year. Phoenix Raceway, Bianchi reports, is likely still to be part of that rotation. But for next year, at least, Championship Weekend returns to Homestead Miami Speedway. Perhaps the most interesting part of this report, Bianchi says that NASCAR is moving the championship back to Homestead despite no financial commitment from the city, which is shocking. Reportedly, the city of Phoenix or the county pays NASCAR several $1 million a year for the rights to host Championship Weekend. According to Jordan Bianchi, NASCAR and the state of Florida and local Miami officials have been trying to work on a financial package over the past few weeks and months, but so far, no deal has been struck. Yet despite that, NASCAR is making this move anyway. So NASCAR deserves a ton of credit here for listening to the fans, for listening to the majority of drivers and teams in the garage. NASCAR is moving the championship from Phoenix back to Homestead Miami Speedway despite having no financial incentive to do so. In fact, keeping it at Phoenix is probably the better, at least short-term financial decision. But doesn't matter. NASCAR says, hey, the product will be better at Homestead Miami Speedway. Let's move the championship there for 2026. Hey, gotta give NASCAR some credit for doing that. Looking ahead, I know this race is 18 months away or whatever, but Team Penske had cracked the code at Phoenix. They'd won 3 straight championships. They'd finished 1-2 in the 2022 and 2024 fall race. So looking ahead to a Homestead finale, who does Homestead Miami Speedway favor? Well, honestly, while Ryan Blaney would probably prefer to keep the championship at Phoenix, he's been pretty darn good at Homestead as well. In the next-gen car, he has 2 second-place finishes and has led the second most laps of anyone. Could also mention Tyler Reddick, who won at Homestead Miami Speedway in 2024 and also won twice in the Xfinity Series, clinching championships in both events. You know, there have been 4 next-gen car Cup Series races at Homestead Miami Speedway. Would you believe that AJ Allmendinger has the best average finish in the series? He averages a 5th place finish. I know it's a long shot that Allmendinger would make it to the championship for next year, but if somehow he does, watch out. Kyle Larson probably has the biggest smile this morning. He's won 2 of the last 4 Homestead races, has led more laps than anyone at the track in that span. Obviously, we don't know what the 2026 schedule looks like just yet, but I'm sure Kyle Larson will be begging NASCAR to take Talladega out of the round of 8. If Kyle Larson makes the championship for next year, watch out. I think his competition will just be hoping for a mistake more than anything. Although, now that I think about it, not only do we don't know exactly what next year's schedule will look like, we also don't know what the playoff format will be. We don't know if Homestead will be, a winner-take-all one-race championship finale. We don't even know if the Championship 4 will be a thing next season. So there are still a lot of questions here. I love that NASCAR is bringing the championship back to Homestead for next year, especially since it may not be in their best financial interest. I also love, according to The Athletic, that they're planning to rotate championship venues year after year. I think Homestead should be part of that rotation. Phoenix likely will. I've defended Phoenix, not the best racetrack, but a beautiful facility, big market. I wonder if Las Vegas, intermediate track, could work its way into that rotation. Maybe a Kansas, though that might be a little chilly. We'll see. But really, what I'm hoping for is that we won't be talking about a one-race, winner-take-all finale. I've voiced my support for a 3-race final championship round. You can keep the championship 4. Whoever earns the most points at the end of race 3, that's your champion. 3 races is a larger sample size than just 1. There's still a heightened sense of urgency. You have to bring your A game. The points battle will likely still be close. I think this is the perfect compromise between competitive integrity and keeping things entertaining at the end of this season. That's my take. That's what I would throw my support behind, but everyone has a varied playoff format suggestion. NASCAR is actively meeting with teams, drivers, sponsors, OEMs, the entire industry. There's an ongoing active playoff committee that is going to continue to meet throughout this year to discuss potential changes to next year's format. I love seeing Championship Weekend return to Homestead Miami Speedway for next year, but I hope the one-race, winner-take-all championship format goes the way of the dinosaur at the end of the 2025 season. Final big story of the day, the NASCAR Hall of Fame just unveiled the Class of 2026 nominees. Remember, 2 names will be voted in off the Modern Era ballot, and 1 name will come off the Pioneer ballot. The Modern Era ballot includes Greg Biffle, Neil Bonnet, Tim Brewer, Jeff Burton, Kurt Busch, Randy Dorton, Harry Gant, Harry Hyde, Randy LaJoie, and Jack Sprague. While the Pioneer Era ballot, as you can see, now includes Jake Elder, along with Ray Hendrick, Banjo Matthews, Larry Phillips, and Bob Wellborn. Kurt Busch and Randy LaJoie are new names added to this year's Modern Era ballot. This is Kurt Busch's first year of eligibility, and in my opinion, his on-track accomplishments should make him a first ballot NASCAR Hall of Famer. He's the 2004 Cup Series champion, which on its own should guarantee him entry into the Hall of Fame. He's a 34-time Cup winner, which also on its own should get him into the Hall of Fame. Not to mention, he's a Daytona 500 winner. On track, Kurt Busch is a clear-cut Hall of Famer. Off track, there's some nuance there. He had an up and down career. I don't know what his relationship with the voting panel is. There were some off-track controversies. He bounced from team to team early in his career. And just last year, he was cited with a DWI. So, the way the voting works, this is kind of a political game when it's all said and done. I think Kurt Busch will get voted in this year. I think he should. But if there's any doubt, I think it has more to do with some of the non-racing controversy, let's say. When it's all said and done, though, Kurt Busch's Cup Series career, NASCAR career, was cut short by the next-gen car, something NASCAR designed with some significant flaws early on. And Kurt Busch, to his credit, handled that situation, I think, with tremendous grace, more grace than he needed to. I think Kurt Busch should get in this year. Hopefully the voting panel feels the same way. As for that second modern era spot, Randy LaJoie getting on the ballot is really cool, but I don't think there's an obvious second choice. All of these dudes, legends. Jack Sprague won 3 truck titles, dominated the truck series in its early years. Jeff Burton, the mayor, 21-time Cup winner, and continues to be an important figure around the garage today. Neil Bonnet is awesome. Handsome Harry Gant, the way he came on strong late in his career. The Biff. All very good, all worthy of recognition, but I don't think any one of them stands out among the rest as being more Hall of Fame worthy. If I had to vote, I think I would lean towards Jack Sprague, just considering what he did in the early years of the Craftsman Truck Series, 3-time champion. But Jeff Burton, for his Cup Series success and continued involvement with the sport, what he's done on TV, I think Jeff Burton should get serious consideration. I think Kurt Busch should be the clear number 1 candidate, but that number 2 spot, y'all can debate me in the comments below. Who would you put in with your second pick? I think Harry Gant would be a solid choice as well. Some of the records he holds. Isn't he still the oldest Cup Series winner ever? Does he hold that record? As for the Pioneer era ballot, I'm 27 years old. It's hard for me to speak to these guys' accomplishments. All I know about them is what I've read. Suitcase Jake Elder won multiple championships as a crew chief. Ray Hendrick was named one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers a couple years ago. Banjo Matthews built championship winning cars. Again, all legends of the sport based on what I've read, what I've heard, but I don't feel I can speak to any one of them personally. We've got time to debate. In fact, I want to hear your arguments in favor of or against these various nominees. You might sway my opinion, quite frankly, especially on some of these older names who I haven't gotten the chance to see compete firsthand personally. But there you go, the NASCAR Hall of Fame Class of 2026 nominees. Any surprises? Anyone left off the list still that should be included? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But that is going to do it for this jam-packed Monday episode of Out of the Groove. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more NASCAR news, rumors, content, commentary of all kind every single day, every single week. A big thank you to my generous Patreon supporters. Plenty more to come between now and this weekend. Talladega coming up right on the horizon. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, a great start to your week, and I will talk to you again soon.